Greetings Earthlings, Mr. KDB here for First Aid Spray, and I'm on hand to drop some giant sewer alligator sized truth bombs to you today. It's a very interesting time to be a Resident Evil fan right now. 2021 has seen one of, if not the most busy year for RE media and news ever. We had a brand new mainline entry game, a new PvP game, beta, and then delay to said game, an animated Netflix series, news of a virtual reality port, news of a new live-action TV series, a slew of ridiculous new merchandise which I definitely cannot afford, and what's that coming over the hill? Is it an Umbrella-created monster? No? Well, maybe. It's a brand new live-action franchise reboot movie, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. Early October saw the long-awaited and bloody overdue trailer for the upcoming movie, and after months of tidbits from the director and cast, a few promotional images, and a gaping void of other marketing from Sony Pictures, it's exciting to finally get a good look at the film. Response online has been mixed, shocker, though it does seem to be leaning towards a more positive reaction, or at least intrigue from the fans. I'm happy to say that despite some issues, I'm 100% on this runaway ecliptic express hype train, hurtling towards the release date with excitement levels at a high. Sadly there's no Rebecca Chambers, but I'm on the train no less, and in this video I'll be telling you why Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City is absolutely gonna be the best Resi film ever made. Right, let's get the dirty stuff out of the way first. I'm a stickler for visuals, and in a world where we've seen literal dead people brought back to life digitally to be in movies, I think we're all in agreement that CGI has come a long way since the days of Tron. We're spoilt by pixel-perfect explosion fests from the MCU, and even television CG has given us some mind-blowing visuals creating creatures and worlds which feel like you can reach out and touch. Standards these days are so high. Generally though, that stuff costs a lot of money, and the trailer for REWTRC has some very low budget looking CG in it. It cannot be ignored or denied. It looks okay in places, and the final movie may have a better polish, but I definitely would have liked to see this be a level or two higher than what we're seeing here. So there you go. Before you start telling me I'm a rose-tinted Wesker glasses wearing fanboy and I'm ignoring the glaring issues, I promise you I'm not. My cynicism has become a bit of a running joke in the FAST community, so believe me when I say I'll be the first to rant for 7.5 minutes on a podcast episode about why I think something looks bad. The fact is, some of the greatest and most enjoyable movies ever made have some terrible CG in them. It can be jarring if it's literally unfinished, but that's certainly not going to be the case here. When the film's out, we'll revisit the issue here on the channel, but for now, let's pack it away in a nice little decorative box and seal it with a red jewel. Right, moving on. How is this going to be the best RE movie ever made, you cry? Well, I'll tell you. It's not made by Paul W.S. Anderson. Just kidding. Well, sort of. The fact Anderson isn't involved definitely helps, but it's not my focus here today. This is going to be the best RE film for many reasons. Firstly, well, what do you know? It's actually a pretty close adaptation of the original games. Unless I'm mistaken, an RE movie based on the events of the games is something many of us have been screaming for since 1999, and look at that, we're actually getting it. So let's be happy about that, shall we? Yes, it's not a shot-for-shot remake, because that would be stupid, but it's directly using characters, locations, BOWs, story threads and the like to bring the games to life in movie form. Look, there's Claire, and Chris, and Chief Irons, and even Kevin flipping dog food Dooley. The RPD, Spencer Mansion, zombies, dogs, lickers, and what appears to be the final malformation of G are all here. This is undeniably Resident Evil 1 and 2, and the thought of finally seeing a proper go at getting all this stuff on a cinema screen is making me positively giddy with glee. Johannes Roberts has been saying all the right things since he was announced as director, and it's apparent this wasn't just a director for hire. This is someone who, if they hadn't already played the games, they certainly did at some point, and have seemingly gone out of their way to serve the fans with a true homage to the games we love, taking us about as far away from the Anderson-verse as you could hope for, which is a big tick for this movie. Speaking of fan service, that's another reason why this is going to be the best RE film ever. If we end up with some plot holes, silly dialogue, though I'm torn on whether that's fan service or not, and some dodgy CG, we're still getting some enjoyable fan service. The trailers alone are absolutely crammed with it, and if there wasn't something in there which at the very least as an RE fan made you crack a smile, then I'm not sure what to tell you. As mentioned, we've got all the characters, creatures and locations. Roberts even says that they went as far as getting actual blueprints of the RPD and Spencer Mansion directly from Capcom, along with other designs, just to make sure they could get as close to the games as possible. But it goes further than that. Yes, there's them iconic words, itchy tasty. It's a reference only for the fans. There's the cheeseburger, Claire's bike, Chris has a lighter, and oh my god, it's only the Ashfords. And if you want to get really into the background details, the ammunition branding from the games is here, and this painting is directly lifted from the game. Seriously, this movie is going to have more Easter eggs, nods, and connective rotten zombie tissue to the series than Mortal Kombat 2021 did. And trust me, there was a metric ton in that one. There is of course a big chance that other aspects of the script and narrative can suffer at the hands of just pasting together reference after reference, but it does seem like we're getting a serious attempt at not only getting the games on screen, but paying them the respect they fully deserve. I would be stunned if even the most cynical fan didn't find something to enjoy in this movie, and there wasn't much of that in the previous films. Speaking of things in need of more respect, the female characters of the franchise have in recent years felt undeservedly sidelined in favour of the male heroes, and no more recently than Netflix's animated series Infinite Darkness. No matter what you think of that show, Claire Redfield fans generally came away pretty miffed at her reduction to supporting character, barely, with not a lot to do besides get captured and tied to a chair. Here though, the trailers at least have Claire front and centre of what is confirmed to be a story centred around the Redfield siblings. Claire is the one taking up the bulk of the trailer here, certainly where the story is concerned. Having a female lead just because a good movie does not make. What we want is good characters, and at the very least an opportunity for those characters to take the roles they don't usually get. And when it comes to using characters from the games, Claire Redfield might just be the smartest, most tenacious, kick-ass, and most interesting one of the lot. Orphan come humanitarian, always wanting to help others, not blinded by some loyalty to a job, Leon, and she's taken down BOWs time and time again. Roberts has spoken about Claire being a haunted character, never feeling comfortable in Raccoon City, but she's also determined to uncover the truth. And even though this movie isn't canon, Claire has always felt very well put together in the games, and it will be interesting to see some new layers of depth being added to her here, with perhaps a touch of vulnerability, having to face her fear and return to the city, something certainly not seen in the original games. Having Claire as the lead in this movie is a no-brainer. There's tons to work with, and if that's what we're getting here, it is absolutely the right call and will help make this the best RE movie ever made. Let's pause for a second. I'm a huge Jill Valentine fan, and the way she's depicted in this movie remains to be seen, as we only get a glimpse here. I am concerned she appears to be buried beneath lots of other stuff going on, but that's a conversation to be had after the movie comes out. For now, Claire is seemingly very important to this movie, and that revs my metaphorical motorcycle engine. On the subject of female characters, we have an intriguing first look at Lisa Trevor in action. Undoubtedly one of the best canon additions to come from the RE remake, the story of Lisa is a sad one, and as an enemy in the games, it always felt like she was a creepier stalker type than, say, Nemesis, which was more pray and run type stuff. With a design that seems to pay homage to movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes, Lisa's lumbering moans and knockout blows made her a ghastly character, so to see her being brought to life in live action form here leaves me beaming, and terrified. It feels like an obvious choice now, but there's also an opportunity here to introduce Lisa to fans who may have never played the remake, and even expand upon her character past meandering maniac. I know this isn't a predictions video, but the shh she gives in the trailer feels like a hint towards Lisa being a possible ally to the Alpha team in the Spencer Mansion, and I'm excited to see the spin this movie takes on this often underrated but integral figure to the RE franchise. Another tick. Moving away from the fictional characters, I think one of the key reasons why this movie will be the best RE movie ever made is that the real life cast and crew seem to care. Director Johannes Roberts is either a really good liar or he's a genuine fan of the games, or at the very least he's really done his homework. Pretty much every comment he's made in regards to the film not only points out the things many fans didn't enjoy about the Anderson movies, albeit in a very diplomatic way, and what he felt was missing, but he also hammers home about honouring the original games while referencing deep story points and canon which you won't necessarily find on the surface of Resident Evil just by taking a quick look. Oh Leon, you silly hungover bastard. When talking about capturing aspects of horror and thrillers, Roberts cites George Romero, John Carpenter, Stephen King and The Exorcist. This appears to be a director keen on injecting some of that classic horror where possible, with an understanding that this is a large part of what made us fall in love with the original games in the first place. On that note, the practical effects on the zombies here look marvellous. Look, there's the turnaround zombie. Even Tom Savini would be proud. Robert's comments are in slight contrast to at least one of the trailers, which certainly has a more fun action tone to it, but marketing can be tricky. Sony Pictures clearly want to pull in more viewers than just horror fans, but it's ironic when you consider that horror has continued to be the most profitable genre during the pandemic, with releases in 2021 performing much better than anyone expected. Horror movies tend to be lower budget, which means their margin for profit is much wider, even if fewer people are going to see them. Though we don't have exact budget details for this movie, $40 million is a number floating around, though there's no context to this number and I'm reluctant to totally rely on it. The heavy amount of VFX, ensemble cast and diverse sets, etc. will mean it's undoubtedly a bit more expensive than Sony would have liked for a franchise reboot. And in my opinion, probably why we shouldn't be cramming 2 games into one movie here. So they're obviously pushing for a trailer that appeals to those looking for a fun movie too. If this was all just horror, making that budget back would be difficult, but it's a bit more than that, with something for everyone. They're more likely to turn a profit with more bums in cinema seats, in theory. The action on display undoubtedly appeals to those who enjoyed the Anderson movies too, and yes, we know you're out there, and that's fine. There is a conversation to be had about the production and why it isn't coming to home streaming, but again, let's save that for a future episode. With all of that considered, we may be in for a movie which has a variety in its tone. Roberts has even mentioned Chief Irons being hilarious, so we're getting a few laughs, and he has in particular talked about finding a balance for the zombies. Are they the bumbling Romero types, or the more crazed sprinters of Zack Snyder's universe? It sounds like we might be getting a bit of both, and although Snyder was referenced, the fact is, running zombies have appeared in the Resident Evil remake in the form of Crimson Heads, arguably one of the most terrifying enemies in the game. Their fast-paced nature was just as scary as a lurching horde from the RPD hallways. I think both of the trailers have their merits, and the one with the darker tone means I'm remaining confident that those nods to horror Roberts has referenced will be present and correct, even if the goofiness of Resident Evil is shining through too. The cast also seem to be showing strong enthusiasm for the movie, with various members sharing behind-the-scenes photos and such on social media. A camaraderie appears to have come from their time together on set, and if there's chemistry in real life, there's a damn good chance that will translate on screen. If they all had fun making the movie, I'm fully expecting to have fun watching it. Tick, tick and double tick. Best RE movie ever. So yes, 2 very different trailers does leave me a little bit confused as to what the finished product is going to be come release day, but I can assure you there's been enough on display in these trailers for me to have no doubt in my mind this will be the best Resi movie ever put to screen. And I haven't even covered the potential surprises, individual strengths of the cast, and the fact Leon is holding a flipping rocket launcher. I also don't doubt there'll be a whole lot more to say once the film is here, for better or for worse, but I can't wait to see how it all fits together. I'll be honest, my expectations were pretty low, and the long delay on the trailer got more worrying by the day, but after seeing this footage, those expectations have easily been surpassed. It's an odd feeling being excited about a new Resident Evil movie, but goddamn I'm glad I am. If they haven't already, people are about to forget there were 6 other Resident Evil movies. You heard it here first. And that's why this is going to be the best RE movie made to date. What do you think of the trailers? Are you excited for the film? Let us know in the comments below, subscribe for more Resi content all the time, find our podcasts on all the usual platforms, and consider joining the First Aid Spray community on Discord. I've been KDB, and absolutely none of what I've said today is going to come back and bite me in the arse. See you in the cinema, guys!